the cameras flashed.
Yeah.
The crowd literally froze. And just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession.
Oh, totally. It was everywhere.
I mean, picture this. You are standing in the middle of Madison Square Garden.
Right.
But if you look down, there's no basketball court, there is no hockey rink. The entire 20,000-seat arena has been completely transformed into this lush, sprawling, hyper-realistic secret garden.
It's hard to even visualize acres of peach carpet.
Exactly. Thousands of white velvet seats and these massive floral arrangements just suspended from the ceiling. You look to your left, and there is Steven Spielberg deep in conversation with Tom Hanks.
Wow.
You look to your right, and Gigi Hadid is sharing a laugh with Patrick Mahomes. The doors are locked. The streets of Manhattan outside are completely shut down by a literal army of NYPD officers.
The security was insane.
And then, up on the central stage, 84-year-old Sir Paul McCartney steps up to a microphone. He dusts off his acoustic guitar, and he starts playing. And that is why the headline story today is how the Beatles song Paul McCartney chose for Taylor Swift's wedding was perfect.
It was absolutely perfect. I mean, it is the ultimate flex of modern celebrity. You're looking at money, power, and cultural royalty, all concentrated and sealed inside one single room.
Welcome to Starscope Report. Join us as we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals.
From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And today we are doing a deep dive into the July 3rd, 2026 wedding of pop icon Taylor Swift and NFL champion Travis Kelce. We've got a fascinating stack of sources for this one.
Oh yeah, we're pulling from Forbes, Rolling Stone, on-the-ground stuff from People magazine, and some meticulously tracked Wikipedia timeline.
Right, because our mission today isn't just to repeat cheap paparazzi headlines. We want to bypass all of that. We're exploring how two people at the absolute peak of global fame attempt to manufacture actual genuine intimacy on a multi-million-dollar scale.
It's a remarkable paradox, you know, when you really look at the mechanics of it. When your entire life is public and your relationships are, well, literal global commodities, how do you protect what's deeply personal?
That's the ultimate question.
It is. And the answer, according to all our sources, involves executing a wedding with the tactical precision of a military operation.
And the budget of a Marvel movie.
Literally.
So let's start with that musical lineup I mentioned in the hook. Because if you are planning a normal wedding, maybe you hire, I don't know, a great local cover band.
Or just put on a great Spotify playlist.
Right, exactly. But if you're Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, you curate what is essentially a private generational music summit. I mean, it reads like they hosted their own private Grammys.
That is exactly the atmosphere they created. And the crown jewel of that summit was undeniably Paul McCartney.
Oh, 100%.
He performed I Want to Hold Your Hand for the Newlyweds. And to understand the sheer gravity of this moment, we have to look at the historical data. The last time McCartney performed that specific song live was on September 20th, 1964.
Wait, 1964. That's 62 years ago.
62 years.
It genuinely boggles the mind. I mean, how is that even possible?
It was at the Paramount Theater in New York, no less. And this wasn't just some random deep cut from the Beatles catalog, right? This was the exact track that kicked Beatlemania into overdrive in America.
Their very first U.S. #1 hit.
Exactly. He had never, not once, in over 6 decades, performed it live as a solo artist. He basically kept it sealed in a vault, only to bring it down as a bespoke wedding gift.
I was looking at the history between Swift and McCartney in our sources, just trying to understand how you even begin to approach a Beatle to be your wedding singer.
You definitely don't just call a booking agent for that.
No. But the deep mutual admiration between them is actually incredibly well documented. Like back in 2020, they interviewed each other for the cover of Rolling Stone's Musicians on Musicians issue.
Oh, I remember that one.
Yeah. And what really stands out when you read that transcript is how McCartney completely refused to mansplain superstardom to her. He treated her as an absolute equal in the industry.
He really did, and he's maintained that stance ever since. In the weeks leading up to this wedding, McCartney gave an interview to the BBC where he explicitly drew the parallel.
What did he say?
He stated that the worldwide fame Taylor Swift is navigating right now is the exact same phenomenon the Beatles experienced in their prime.
Wow.
Yeah. He recognized that she's standing on the exact same cultural mountaintop he stood on in the 1960s. So choosing I Want to Hold Your Hand, the very song that sparked his own ascent in America, it's just incredibly poetic.
It really functions as a passing of the torch. It's a staggering piece of music history happening at a private party. And she has always praised him, too. you know, famously calling him an eternally exceptional artist.
Yeah.
But McCartney wasn't the only legend in that room. You also had Stevie Nicks performing.
Oh, Stevie Nicks brings her own profound connection to the whole narrative. She actually wrote a prologue poem for Swift's 2024 album, The Tortured Poets Department.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that poem.
Yeah, and she's been a highly vocal supporter of the couple's relationship from the very beginning. She said in interviews that she genuinely hoped they would ride off into the sunset together.
That is so sweet.
Having her there, adding her voice to the musical tapestry of the night, it really elevated the entire event from a standard celebration to a piece of music history.
And then, just to keep things slightly grounded in Hollywood reality, you have their mutual friend Adam Sandler officiating the ceremony.
It's so funny.
And he sang an original comedy song. Plus, you add in performances by Ciara and Fergie, and the scale of the talent in that room is almost impossible to comprehend.
Well, the scale of those performers is actually the exact reason they needed the venue they chose.
Which is just, it's still wild to me. And that's not even the wildest part. Later in the episode, we'll talk about a shocking weather twist that literally nobody saw coming.
Oh, you do not want to miss that. And hey, if you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead.
So getting back to the venue, when you invite guests of this caliber, you need serious security. Which brings us to Madison Square Garden.
The absolute fortress.
When I first read that in the Forbes breakdown, I honestly thought it was a typo.
Yeah.
I mean, people play sold-out world tours at MSG. The Knicks and the Rangers play there. You do not typically host a wedding reception there.
Typically, no, you do not. But from a purely logistical standpoint, MSG was kind of the only logical choice for a couple dealing with this unprecedented level of exposure.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, Taylor Swift knows that specific building intimately. She's performed there multiple times. She understands the layout, the loading docks, the underground tunnels, the security choke points.
All the logistics.
Exactly. When you are dealing with global superstars, you need a venue where you can completely ruthlessly control the physical environment.
And controlling that environment is where the numbers get truly wild. The estimates from luxury wedding planners in our Forbes source put the price tag for this event somewhere between $10 and $20 million.
It is a staggering amount of money.
Just the sheer municipal power required to lock down that grid in the middle of Manhattan.
Right, because a massive chunk of that budget goes directly to security logistics and city permits. We are talking about the NYPD deploying 135 officers just to maintain the outer perimeter.
That is an army.
And the event organizers secured municipal permits to entirely close down 7th Avenue between 30th and 34th Streets.
July?
Yes, they restricted pedestrian access blocks away. They even coordinated with transit authorities to block access to specific parts of Penn Station, which sits directly underneath the arena.
I mean, imagine you're trying to commute home on a Friday in July, and Penn Station is rerouted because of a wedding.
New Yorkers must have been thrilled.
Oh, I'm sure. And the secrecy was locked down incredibly tight. They erected these massive, opaque pop-up tents on the street so that streams of blacked-out SUVs could drive right into the venue's loading bays.
So nobody on the street could see who was inside the cars.
Exactly. And the internal logistics are just as intense. They implemented a strict no-phone policy for 20,000 seats worth of space.
That is a lot of phones to collect.
Every single guest, vendor, lighting tech, and caterer had their phone collected and locked away at the door.
Which explains why the public only knows about the interior aesthetics because of a few accidental leaks.
Right, the AMC guy.
Yeah, the most notable leak was from AMC CEO Adam Sandler. He enthusiastically posted and then quickly deleted some details on X.
Oops.
Yeah, big oops. But he was the one who revealed the full secret garden transformation. He described those peach carpets, the white-covered seats, and these oversized photos of the couple at every age that lined the arena's massive hallways.
Okay, here's where I have to push back a little bit on this whole concept.
Okay, let's hear it.
I look at all these details, right? The 20,000-seat arena, the police barricades, the NDA signing vendors, the mass phone confiscation, the tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Can an event operating on the scale of a geopolitical summit ever actually feel intimate?
That is a very fair question.
At the end of the day, it's a wedding. Can it feel personal for the couple and their guests when it's this highly militarized?
Well, that is the central tension of this entire deep dive. How do you find humanity inside a concrete fortress?
Right.
The answer lies in how the couple actively juxtaposed the massive industrial scale of the arena with incredibly bespoke, hyper-personal details.
So they went big and small at the same time.
Exactly. The intimacy wasn't in the size of the room. I mean, they couldn't control that. The intimacy was in the highly specific choices they made within it.
That makes sense. I actually found a great example of this in the timeline of their relationship.
Yeah.
The secret garden theme wasn't just some aesthetic choice chosen from a Pinterest board.
No, it has a backstory.
It traces directly back to their engagement. In August 2025, Kelce proposed to Swift in a secret garden that he had custom built in the backyard of his home in Missouri.
Yes, the infamous podcast proposal. That is a brilliant example of manufacturing intimacy in plain sight.
Such a crazy story.
Kelce co-hosts his wildly successful podcast New Heights with his brother Jason. They were recording an episode where Swift actually made a guest appearance to announce her 12th studio album, The Life of a Showgirl.
Right. And didn't that break some crazy record?
It did. That specific broadcast broke a Guinness World Record with over 1.3 million concurrent live viewers on YouTube.
Unbelievable.
But Kelce deliberately used that massive, highly public moment as a distraction. The second the cameras turned off and they finished recording, he walked her out to this private, transformed backyard and proposed.
It's just incredible misdirection.
It really is.
And by the way, our sources note the ring he gave her is an elongated cushioned diamond featuring intricate filigree engravings by Artifacts Fine Jewelry.
Just stunning.
So they take this deeply personal, hidden backyard moment and they project it onto the massive canvas of Madison Square Garden. They're basically inviting their guests into their private history.
Precisely. And they made several other structural choices that brought the massive scale down to a very human level. Look at the wedding party, for example.
Oh, yeah, they didn't have one, really.
Exactly. They completely scrapped the traditional concept of an army of bridesmaids and groomsmen. Despite having a guest list packed with Hollywood A-listers and global influencers, Swift's man of honor was simply her younger brother, Austin.
I love that.
And Kelce's best man was his older brother, Jason. And the flower girls were Jason and Kylie Kelce's kids.
That is just such a great detail. You have a room full of Oscar winners and billionaires, and you strip all of that away to just have your siblings standing next to you at the altar.
And the vows function the exact same way. Multiple guests reported that they each read handwritten vows for 20 minutes from a golden book.
20 minutes each.
Yes. Think about the vulnerability required to stand on a stage in Madison Square Garden and speak directly to your partner for 20 minutes. That level of emotional exposure cuts right through the spectacle of the venue.
We certainly can't ignore the spectacle completely, though, because the fashion and the food were operating at the highest possible tier of luxury.
Oh, the highest.
Swift's dress and Kelce's tuxedo were both custom Dior haute couture, designed specifically for them by Jonathan Anderson. They were wearing Louboutin shoes. Swift was wearing exclusive Cartier jewelry.
Very casual.
Very low-key. And the catering wasn't your standard wedding chicken or fish. They brought in Zero Bond, one of the most exclusive private clubs in New York, to serve a highly curated mix of high-end Italian and Japanese dishes.
And that intense level of luxury extended to the rehearsal dinner the night before as well.
Right?
They hosted about 100 of their closest friends and family at the Infosys Theater, which is located inside the MSG complex.
Oh, convenient.
Yeah. And as a party favor, every attendee received a black velvet box marked with a TNT logo. Inside were champagne flutes adorned with actual physical diamonds.
See, this detail highlights what I call the ultimate billionaire paradox.
How so?
Well, on one hand, you are handing out diamond-encrusted champagne flutes to Hollywood elites. A demographic that, let's be honest, definitely does not need more diamonds.
Fair point.
But simultaneously, on that exact same weekend, the couple quietly donated $26 million to various charities across the United States.
$26 million.
It's almost like the wedding itself was acting as a philanthropic stimulus package.
It is a fascinating duality, and it's a very deliberate strategy in modern celebrity. It shows an acute awareness of their immense privilege and the optics of their wealth.
They know people are watching.
They absolutely do. They're willing to spend tens of millions of dollars on a private celebration, but they are actively balancing what PR experts call the karmic ledger.
The karmic ledger. I like that.
Yeah, by executing a massive infusion of cash into the nonprofit sector simultaneously, they mitigate public backlash and turn a display of extreme opulence into a vehicle for social good.
But, you can lock down the inside of Madison Square Garden all you want. You can manage the PR and balance the karmic ledger. But you cannot put a roof over Manhattan.
No, you cannot.
The minute they tried to make this intimate, the outside world turned it into an absolute spectacle. The public reaction was just as intense as the private ceremony.
Absolutely. The outside world was fundamentally incapable of ignoring this event. You had massive crowds of fans braving a brutal July heat wave in New York, lining the police barricades for hours just to catch a glimpse of the black SUVs driving by.
Just a glimpse.
Some fans were literally climbing nearby construction scaffolding to get a better vantage point over the pop-up tents.
And the financialization of this cultural obsession is what really shocked me.
Are the bets?
Yes. CBS News reported that over $2 million had been wagered in online prediction markets just guessing where the venue was going to be.
That is wild.
Think about that.
Yeah.
People are betting millions of dollars in real money on a venue guess for a wedding they aren't even invited to.
It speaks to how deeply embedded these two figures are in the American psyche. And to their credit, the couple understood this and leaned into that public celebration, at least a little bit.
They threw the public a bone.
They did. At exactly 7:22 p.m., right as they were pronounced husband and wife inside the arena, the massive jumbotrons on the exterior of Madison Square Garden suddenly lit up. They flashed a hot pink message reading, "Justin T. married."
Using that same T&T logo from the rehearsal dinner boxes.
Yep.
It is just brilliant branding, and the celebration rippled out across the country from there. The Empire State Building lit up in blue to honor them, and hundreds of miles away in Missouri, the Kansas City Union Station lit up in their honor as well.
But the most cinematic moment of the entire outside spectacle was something completely out of their control.
Oh man, the opalite weather anomaly.
Yeah.
Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next. Because we talk about wild Hollywood stories, but we don't usually talk about literal acts of nature.
It was so bizarre.
I was reading the fan reactions to this, and it is honestly a little spooky how perfectly it aligns with her music. Literally minutes after those jumbotrons flashed the news that they are officially married, the weather in Manhattan just snaps.
Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. These intense winds whip up, a torrential rainstorm hits the city, there's lightning flashing across the entire skyline, and then almost as quickly as it started, the storm breaks.
It just clears right up.
The sun comes out, and a massive, vivid rainbow appears directly over New York City.
And the fans immediately drew the parallel, and it went incredibly viral. It was an eerie, almost poetic manifestation of the lyrics from Swift's 2026 single, Opalite.
Which is all about weather.
Right. That specific track heavily references sudden storms, flashing lightning, and eventually finding a rainbow. It was a cinematic, atmospheric moment that you couldn't have planned with a $100 million budget.
I mean, part of me wonders if Swift's PR team has actually figured out a way to choreograph the weather.
I wouldn't put it past them.
If anyone could afford a weather control machine, it is those two. But jokes aside, it really does blur the line between the reality of this event and the mythos that Swift builds in her songwriting. It turns a weather event into a piece of lore.
When we synthesize all of this, the staggering logistics, the historical musical performances, the extreme wealth, and the overwhelming public reaction, what we are really looking at is a cultural merger.
A merger, yes.
This wasn't just a marriage between two people. It was a highly orchestrated merger of America's two most dominant cultural forces right now, pop music and professional football.
It is so true. They executed this wedding with the tactical precision of a massive global stadium tour, and they secured it with the municipal lockdown of a Super Bowl.
Yet, despite all of that industrial armor, the NDAs, the police perimeters, the lockdown arena, the confiscated phones, they managed to anchor the actual day in genuine humanity.
Which is the most impressive part.
They read handwritten vows for 20 minutes. They had their siblings standing by their sides instead of a curated list of celebrities. They took a massive, impersonal, concrete arena and turned it into a replica of the quiet backyard where they got engaged.
And that is exactly why you should care about this, even if you couldn't care less about pop culture gossip or NFL football. This whole event serves as a masterclass in modern boundary setting.
Perfectly said.
It is about how you protect what is deeply personal and what is sacred to you when your entire existence is consumed and monetized by the public. They threw the public a bone. They gave them the jumbotrons and the light shows on the Empire State Building and the charity donations, but they kept the actual core of the ceremony completely to themselves.
It requires an immense amount of capital and resources to achieve that, obviously, but the core principle remains relevant. In an era of absolute overexposure, you have to actively build walls around the things that matter most to you, or the world will simply consume them.
Absolutely. And examining all of these sources leaves me with one final, slightly provocative thought for you to chew on.
Okay, what is it?
Well, if a celebrity wedding today requires the municipal security detail of a geopolitical summit, if it moves the needle on online prediction markets, and if it injects $26 million into local charities,
Yeah.
what exactly is the future of the hyper-celebrity marriage? Are we 10 years away from the ultra-famous just abandoning the illusion of a private wedding altogether?
Oh, that's an interesting thought.
Right. Will they eventually just turn them into ticketed, globally broadcast charity events? If the entire world is going to watch the outside of the building anyway, why not sell the broadcast rights and cure a disease with the profits?
It is a fascinating trajectory to consider. As fame scales to these unprecedented heights, the line between private life, public entertainment, and global philanthropy just continues to dissolve.
Definitely something to mull over. We started this deep dive picturing that jagged, clear X-ray of a normal life, and we end up in the murky, fascinating waters of manufacturing intimacy on a global stage, with Sir Paul McCartney providing the soundtrack.
An unbelievable story.
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where we uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.